Hello and welcome back. This is Cosmic Greninja and this is Planet Zoo, our safari lands. I hope you're excited. I know I am. This was a lot of fun to build. This went with a totally different direction the entire park has, mostly because I wanted to change it a little bit. I did a lot of work in the front before I did anything else, even before I built the pavilion. Um, so So therefore, here we are. There's a lot of trees on the left, a lot of trees on the right, but there's some main trees that go right down the front of it, kind of walkway. Um, the seating, statues, artwork, just giving it a more calming sensation. As you can tell, this is the Safari Lands Pavilion. Um, and we go in through this door. Now, this pavilion is kind of crammed because inside it is also the administration parts as well, um, to handle most of the park. There's only one other administration building in this park, in this part of the plaza, and it's right next door. I know, bad planning. I really probably should have stuck it on the backside of the Great Savannah, but like, how do I get the employees all the way there and back? So it is what it is. So with that being said, this is the entrance to the Safari Lands Plaza. It has a low ceiling, wood ceiling, um, because I wanted it to be kind of like a palace that got turned into an entrance, um, with the whole second floor completely, or third floor really at this point, completely cut off. So this is what we have. The food and vendors scattered throughout. There's not an actual pavilion in this one. There's just little clumps. Because I wanted people to spread out. This is also the only expansion that has a writing aspect when you come into it. Um, it also has the only great open land space. Here is the water feature, just a giant pool, um, boxed in by glass, nothing in it, just there for water. To the left, when you come in, you'll see Building 9, which is the Safari um, building for this area. Its theme matches a building that's in the back because it was kind of built at the same time than the rest of this. But as you can tell, there's a lot more decor done. Eventually, in the middle of this is going to be some trees and stuff just kind of there. But I haven't really permanently decided what I want in this water feature, so there's nothing in it. I'm probably not going to decide for a while. Um, and it won't be decided by the last episode either. So, but once you get past it and get into the main walkway, it's just a giant open plaza. Like it is. This took time. This took work. I didn't. I was like, I don't want to do what I did with Glacial Wonders, where it's just a wandering path going X amount of different directions. But then I didn't want to do what I did with Aqua Oasis, with it was one path with a cross section. So I was like, I will do a giant plaza and have everything kind of built off of it, and that's what I did. Um, and then of course there are little sidewalks and stuff to it. Um, Once you go up the left side from the plaza, you come to the African wild dogs and the hyenas. Um, this is the striped hyenas. Some of them are named on the back wall. Some of them have their own front walls. They're all fenced in. The theme of them carries from building to building. There's no actual off walk like there was in Aqua Oasis. It kind of pulls from Glacial Wonders, where you just walk next to the habitat and stop and look. Um, I did that because I kind of wanted it to kind of slow. Um, I don't know why there's double wall right there. I will have to fix that. And then, of course, behind African Wild Dogs is the Safari building, the administration one. And it has kind of its own little courtyard, too, as you can tell. Um, I was going to put some seating and stuff back there for the employees, but yeah, I haven't yet. And then the hyenas share a combined wall. Striped hyenas are on this side, and then on the other one is the spotted hyenas. I try not to do the signs all the same in each habitat, so theirs is on the ground right here next to them. Each habitat is named. This line that goes through it was kind of a clever stumble. It was an accident, but it's lights. The lights are either through the word, under the word, over the word, throughout the entire Africa or Safari lands. Um, there are lights everywhere, um, and then there's lights nowhere. So it just depends. Oh, here's the pygmy hippos and the Red River hogs. So I'm not really sure what's going in that habitat in Aqua Oasis. Because I still haven't got that DLC I know I mentioned in the last one. But this one shares those two. Yeah. Anyways, let's go back to daylight. But this part of the park is actually becoming very popular. And then, of course, here's the hippos and the hogs, and they're mixed in here nicely. Um, this has two wild areas. One is just a giant walkthrough, pulling aspects from Aqua Oasis, and the other one is a riding one. So this one I named it the Tip of India. This has a conglomerate of animals that are more specifically in India than Africa, but I wanted to feature them because I had that little tropics feature from the Grand Plaza, so I'm trying to tie everything here. Um, Here are the TVs for three of them. I think there's only three in here. Yeah, there's only three. The Indian elephant. What was it? The Malayan tapir and proboscis monkey. Now, granted, I know there's some other animals that are here from that are in the game from India, but I didn't use them all. And as you can tell, I pulled aspects from the the giant otters habitat, minus some of the walls are different. But here's the animals if you want to see them up close. This is a very crowded area because so many trees were needed. So many toys were needed. These animals are not very happy animals without all that. But here's the Malayan tapir. Here is the proboscis monkey. And somewhere here is an elephant. And here is the elephant. So it was fun to build it and using different wall aspects. I enjoyed that and pulling stuff from Aqua Oasis to kind of mimic over here to help tie the two was kind of cool. But it has its own grand entrance and grand walkway and all that, just like its own theme. And it's at the end, on the far end of one, on the left side. All right. So as we come out of it, we come up to another habitat. I believe this is one of the cats. Go back to the Red River hogs. What is this one? African leopard. So this is the leopard one. As you can tell, the fencing goes up super high, even though the walls stop here. I need to come back around and do another layer of walls so it kind of looks better. Um, I kind of like that too. Kind of gives it the hope. And then, of course, some of the trees they can climb. This tree I turned off climbing on, so they can't climb on it. So, but this is the African leopard. It was a lot of fun to build. I do have the cheetah and African lion in this park. Once you come out past it and the hyenas, you're going to see another. Like I try to use trees and open space and to openness of some of the the savanna lands in Africa. So, but yeah, and as you can tell, here's some more eatery spots up here and restrooms. Um, I know I said they were scattered out more, but that's as scattered as I get for now. I think I was going to add another one back here. As you can tell, the cheaters over here. Nile monitor. Oh yeah, I moved the Nile monitor. How many monitors are in this game? I gotta look real quick because now I'm like concerned. Oh, okay, the Asian water monitor and the Nile monitor. Okay, so the Nile monitor's over here, the Asian one's over on the other side. But we'll come back to that. Now, as you can see, as we come up to the Nile monitor, you see a building that says the Lemurs. If you remember in the Grand Plaza, the Lemurs were right there off the main entrance. I built this and discovered that most of the lemurs were from Africa. I moved them and put something else in its place. Um, which you'll see in the final video. Um, but here's the Nile monitor. Um, Open there. This is the newest part of the park. Here's the cheetahs off to its one side. Um, each expansion has its own set of employees assigned to it. Um, then I have three that I haven't fully finished yet, or two. Oh, that's a sand cat. Yeah, there's the sand cat right there. I think this cat is so cute. Look at that. That's adorable. Probably wouldn't want to meet it in wildlife in the wild, but it would still be kind of cool. This one still has two more animals to come in. I haven't finished fully, but like I said, this is a sneak peek, and frankly, it is what it is. Here's the cheetahs. Um, as you can tell, the name's not on both ends or all the way around or centered. It's far left, far right. Like I said, I was going with kind of a theme, but I didn't want it to be like uniform to every building in the same area. Um, Cheetahs are in here. Here they are. This was the original African lion habitat when I first built it because it was the first one I built. And I put the lions in. And then I discovered the lions didn't have enough space. So the cheetahs kind of took their home and I moved the lions somewhere else. Everything in here is literally from the lions. I didn't change a thing other than the these reeds right here. I think there's water here. Yeah, there's water. There's not a lot of water because they don't require a lot. But it is there. And then when we get to the back, like I said, we'll come to lemurs. We'll come to lemurs first because I kept that same aspect from the lemur building, and then I kind of gave it this movie theater entrance kind of thing, even though the entrance is off centered. I had to get creative. But this is the lemur habitat, and it's got you can look in it from the outside, or you can go in. Um, Now, yes, there's a column right here in the middle. Like I said, the sidewalk did not want to cooperate, so I still got a little bit of work to do with this. But it's got a raised sidewalk so the animals can walk under. They're little, so they can get under. And then a lot of climbing space. I can tell here's all the animals. There's the door. So I literally, it's the last thing I did when I stopped working on this part of it was move the lemurs over. So that's why they're all kind of clustered right here. They are happier here than they were in their original building because the original building was mostly a sidewalk down the middle, and they didn't really have that much room. This one is a round circle, which is probably going to change to a just a giant down the middle kind of thing, and everything be on the sides. But I'll figure that out. Like I said, I was kind of giving this kind of like a movie theater look, old fashioned movie theater. So, and then when you exit it, like I said, that's why you see all of these guys walking away. They literally just brought the lemurs. Um, but in the back, we have the African lions on one side. Not sure this building placement was a good idea, but too late to change it. Um, they are happier because they have more space. And they have some cubs. Finally, they weren't having cubs. Look at that cub. I wanted to look at the cub. Okay, we'll look at this cub. Look at the cub. Can you say Nala or Simba? Yeah, big fan of Lion King. But yeah, they're here. Um, they got more climbing. The walls are up higher. And they'll probably go up higher. There's a um, there is no administration inside here. It's just the doors to bring the animals in. Is right here in this little thing. Um, and then they can actually get up on this if they want to and walk. They haven't yet, but it's there. All the trees are climbable. They just can't get over the wall. So, and then lastly, we have the African savanna elephants. This was a lot of fun. I have yet to get all the elephants in one game, but I have all the elephants in one game. I'm very happy. So, they were over there where the African wild dogs were originally. They were the second animal. And then when I had this giant chunk of land back here on the side, I was like, I only have two animals left to add. I was like, and the cheetah and the wild dogs were originally going to go there. I was like, I do want to add some other animals to this. Yeah, okay, I'll move them. So I gave this space to the elephants and lions. So they got a bigger, more open space, and they seem to be happier about it. Um, definitely. And then, of course, the grand finale space of this entire area, which isn't being utilized yet, because, like I said, the park just I haven't unpaused, so guests haven't even got this far back yet. Is what I call the Great Savannah. It's nothing but an open area, animals, just random animals that can all be together without problems. There's random habitat coverings, just random everything. And then you take just a jolly little train ride through them all. Um, Eventually, information TVs will align this once I see how busy this gets. And then, of course, it has its own administration building. I thought that was no more, but I guess I was wrong. It's the Savannah building. It's just for this. So, yeah. Once you come in, all the trees, landscaping is all the same throughout. All the buildings are the same. The water levels, the layout of all the toys, all the same toys scattered throughout. So they have to mingle and move around. Um, but inside this park, or inside the Savannah Lands, let me find the door, so I can just read them off. I have African buffalo, wildebeest, blue wildebeest, the common ostrich, the common warthog, the zebra, the giraffe, um, sable antelope, the rhinoceros, springbok, and gazelle. So I have quite a few animals here, and they're all getting quite along quite well. Um, so here's the giraffe. I like giraffes; they're kind of cool. Um, Now I didn't make this water level low like this on purpose. I did this so animals could still cross without having to cross the train tracks, and I elevated kept the train level all the way across, but had the ground lower, um, so animals can cross. Not that it's stopped them from crossing the trains. And then there's a giant water source that kind of cuts throughout everywhere. Um, this is just a giant chunk of land. This was my mistake. I forgot to come back and fix it, but as you can tell, it gets used. Animals kind of dig it, I guess, because the rhinoceros is taking over this end. Um, but their habitat buildings are throughout. This is fun. Um, as you can tell, this is all. It's not as big as some of the other areas, especially Aqua Oasis, which goes on forever. Um, this is more compact, but it was more fun to build the animals. So, but this is the last part of the zoo to be added on. So everyone greatly enjoys it. But that being said, folks, I hope you come back for the grand reveal of every part of the park. Um, and we go from there. All right. Well, that being said, folks, I will catch you later. I'll try to add some more surprises in on the grand finale. Um, the original lemur building is going to have a different animal. Um, I'm just going to make sure some of the other habitats, especially in Glacial Wonders, the animals are holding up because the Japanese monkey is a pain. Um, so having to constantly replace it. Finish decorating the polar bear habitat area over there to finish on. Everything is lit over there. There's seating in most areas. Um, Aqua Oasis, I need to finish with some lighting and some seating, tables, and it's done, and then trees and all the open, flat, non-used areas. Um, the Grand Plaza area is fully done. The core is done, other than naming the plaza building. Um, so come back for the grand reveal. I will not announce when it is, and you just have to watch another video to see when I announce it. I hope you're excited. Later, guys.